I'm pleased to have this opportunity to introduce Nicole Chaske and tell you a little bit of her story of how she was drawn to become a partner and advocate for public education. Nicole is from Chanupawakpa, Dakota Nation, and she has been a school board member for the Fort LaBosse School Division since 2007. Nicole's family and community participated in the public education system in Verdun, Manitoba. Nicole shared with me that she does not have biological children of her own, but when her sister passed away in 2007, she became guardian for her sister's two girls, Naomi and Alea, who were 7 and 13 at the time. Taking responsibility for raising her nieces made her want to know and understand how education is operated in Manitoba. Nicole was employed as a probation officer working for the province of Manitoba at the time. In that capacity, she was involved with assisting youth with different programs and helping them with their education. Nicole speaks her Dakota language well, but she does not consider herself to be fluent. She has a strong familial and community background in the Dakota language and following their culture. Nicole is grateful that her community and the school division work well together in bringing the Dakota culture and language to the classrooms in their communities. I would now like to invite Nicole to share a blessing with us this morning.
Good morning, everyone. I'm in Winnipeg today, so I am able to come to you and share my prayer. But before I get going, I wanted to tell a little bit about our story, me and my family. And I wanted to talk a little bit about my mother, who raised 6 of us on her own. She was, we're all originally from Chanupawakpa, Dakota Nation. And I wanted to share my mom's story, some of her residential school story, plus our story with going to the public education in Verdun, going to Fort LaBosse. My mom, she was sent to Lebret, Saskatchewan when she was a little girl. Most of the people in our community were sent there and had attended. And our community is very strong in the language, and they never spoke English, like not a word of English when they got sent. So they had no idea what was going on, what people were saying. But some of the older people, like her brother, my Uncle Magnus and them, they were already there. So they assisted my mom and them in learning to speak English fast because he had to understand. She spent a lot of her young years there in Lebret, and she learned a lot. She said she learned a lot, but there were times when it was pretty hard for them there in Lebret, being away from the family, not being able to speak their language, not able to see their mom and dad, and to be able to come home. But my grandpa always made the efforts to go and get them and to bring them home on occasions. So they were fortunate that way, and a lot of them weren't. And then when my mom got home around when she was 13, she was sent to, there was a day school in our community, and there wasn't any grade 8 and up. So she was sent to a residential school in northern Winnipeg. And when she went to that residential school, it was different. She was already fluent in speaking the English language, and so when she went over there, it was harder for her, and because there were a lot of northern people that had to attend, and they couldn't speak English, and they were trying to help them and trying to get them to be able to learn, because the school there was different. She said the nuns were meaner, the priest was they were just really awful to them. And that school was in Fort Alexander. And here my mom was telling me about a time when she remembered that she said that they were in class, And she said that there was a nun that was very upset with a lady that was sitting in front of her, a fellow student who couldn't speak the English language. And my mom was saying that that nun was like physically abusing her, like just hitting her in front of the whole classroom, and telling her to hurry up and say these certain words and stuff, and she couldn't. So after that, my mom said she couldn't handle watching it. She said, so she got up and she left the classroom. But she told me the moment she got to that school, there was a priest that always watched her and always looked at her, and like always had his eyes on her. And they had uniforms then at that time, and like skirts, and they had to wear these different clothing. And she said that when she went to she got up, she left the classroom because she didn't want to watch it. So she went to the washroom. She said when she went to the washroom, that priest came in there, and that's when he started to do things to her. And she said she felt awful, and he had abused her. And from that moment on, I think she was like 13, going on to 14. She said she had to run away from there, and she ran away. She wound up getting home from that point. She left that residential school, and there lands all the post-traumatic stress and all these things that nobody knew anything about back in those days, and how she grew up from there on with her issues. She had some issues after that, and that nobody helped anybody with. Like anybody that went to residential school back in the day, nobody really helped them. And so my mom said when she got home, that's when she met my dad, and she raised 6 of us on her own. And at that time, the two oldest ones, well, there were 7 of us, but the oldest one passed away when he was 3 months old. So the other 2 older one, Barry and Alona, they were small, and she said she was outside the house, and they had a little house on the community, and she said they were outside the house there, and my dad was out there too, and they were working. And here she said when she came out of that, she was walking down the trail, and my dad was yelling at her, telling her, "There's someone here to see you." And when she looked, she said there was a vehicle out there. And this was years ago. Nobody had cars. So she said she went and looked over there, and it was that priest that was doing things to her that came there and was looking for her. And he said, he started asking her questions about, are those your kids? And are you happy? Is that your husband? And stuff like that. And she said she just froze. And she said she didn't know what to do after that. Like she was scared, and he just wished her well, and he left. And my mom always thought that, she said, what if, she said, your dad wasn't there? And she said, what if something happened and that he had this guy that they took her, because she said there was 2 of them in that vehicle. And she was always wondered. So when all this residential school stuff came back, my mom was very scared. She didn't want to participate in it, and she kind of stayed away from it. So that's how hard that's how bad it is for our people, because a lot of people didn't come out and participate in a lot of these things that were happening when they're saying there's healing processes and stuff, and not everyone did. But she was so strong. She had 6 of us on her own, and like my dad had left. And then she put us all through like public education. She put us all through school, and like all of us graduated. She said she made a choice to be able to raise all of us on her own, and made education an important part of our lives, which is, when I'm really gone, she did. She raised the 6 of us, and during that time growing up, going to school, it was hard. We had to have clean clothes, we had to have lunch, and her raising us by herself. There's a lady at the Golter School in Verdun. Her name was Mrs. Costin. And we always remember her. She was the principal there, because she came to our house. She came over several times helping my mom, and she brought over clothes. Sometimes she brought over some food and stuff like that. So I was always really thankful to that education system for helping us and bringing us through school and teaching us. And we all we all at that time too, as young kids, we didn't speak English that well either. Like I was fluent in my language when I was really young, and I think the rest of my siblings were too. But we all finished our education after that. We all graduated. We all, went off to do things in our lives, and living from that system to where we are now. Like it was a hard road, but if we trust in the system, and if we pray and think of positives and all those positive things that some of the teachers did for us when we were going to school, that encouraged us and to made us believe that we could finish our education. That was really important for us. And it wasn't all really good days, but we all wound up finishing, and we all wound up still doing the best we can in our lives compared to where everything had started. So I just wanted to share that and let everyone know that it's not like it was hard to live in the First Nations community and to go through these stages to where we are now, and then where our kids now today are, and to help them. Like they're all going through the same thing, and not everyone is getting that positive message for education. So if we could all try to be more positive towards like all the children and help them get through their lives, it'll be, that would be a really nice thing to see, especially for like all the little wee kids. Okay, so that being said, I got up right by house. Okay, I was given the tobacco to say the prayer. I will say the prayer in my language. While I'm saying it in my language, I'm praying for the children. I'm praying for the leadership, for everyone to see, to be able to work well. So our future, the children, it's our future, so they can work and be healthy and be happy, to have good lives for all of us. This is what I'm saying in my prayer. Wakantaka Takashida. Piraichia Takashida Betukida. Ushwida. Da Kunashiche Wamptishne. Sani Yoke Takashida Chukushta down Wanipta. Nawakap Takashida. Tiati Namita Takashida Ushida. Ye Genestada yet Takashida Doctor Kikta. Betukida. Shecha Hanat Takashida Ushida. He Hanat Takashida Ye Tukayapte. Oh, yep. Sani Yokpi Takashida. Zani Yokpi, damn money pit, Takashida Ushida. Oh, yep. And without us. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole, for sharing that very personal history that your family has with the residential schools. Sorry, I'm so emotional. You brought a lot of vulnerability here today, and it's very encouraging to see that you're a part of the public school system in your role as a trustee in Fort LaBosse, and through the contributions you make with MSBA as well. Thank you for the blessing and the intentions around wanting healthy, happy lives for all children. And to set the intention for our meeting today, that is the heart of the matter for all of us, and that is why we are here. So thank you for that, Nicole.